Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody on?
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You all right? Okay. We have the minutes from the November 28th regular meeting to approve. We have had a chance to take a look at the minutes. Anybody have any questions? Any additions or alterations? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And moving on to fiscal business, we have the fiscal officer's report. Linda?
Yes, sir. The board, you may not know it yet, but it's in your inbox, as you have a revenue and appropriation status report, as well as an updated fund status report. And as I do every month, I'm going to read in the record that we have $12,830,814.09 in our checking and investment accounts.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Linda for her fiscal officer's report? Okay, we do have the current bills to pay. We haven't had a chance to take a look at the current bills. Anybody have any additions or any questions about the current bills? Is there a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And also under fiscal business, we have resolution 4971, a resolution to approve the 2017 Clearcreek Township temporary appropriations. Jack, anything particularly you want to tell us about this?
No
We haven't had a
significant,
chance to look at them for some time.
yeah, there might be a tweak to one or two of them, but only nothing of substance. So it's basically the same you got last meeting, and if you had any questions, this is the temporary, so you have a permanent sometime in March.
Coming up. Okay. Any questions about the temporary appropriations?
I just have one, and this is the first I've seen it, so I apologize. What's it all add up to? Do you know?
Totals on the back. 13,525.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought it was on, didn't realize it was front back. My bad. Okay.
Okay.
So, and that's all funds.
Right, all funds.
Right.
Is there a motion to approve the temporary appropriations as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw? Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Anything else, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we do have a public hearing scheduled, and I'd like to entertain a motion to recess the regular meeting and open up the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. First item is resolution 4972, which is a resolution to approve or deny chapters 11 and 21 of the Clearcreek Township, Warren County, Ohio zoning code. And this is an adjustment in the code. Jeff, you want to talk about that a little bit, please?
Yeah, the first request is basically a housekeeping modification for the buffer and screen to allow the Board of Zoning Appeals to go to the proper standard. It was an error from the last time that got modified. The second was to create schools as a permitted use inside the office zone, which the next text amendment also does a modification, but was an attempt to give that use as it is in the B1 and the B2. So that's the intent of text amendment 2016-1.
Okay, and now we'll, for 4972, we need a motion to that. We can't do 43 to go on with that. Okay. So a motion to approve 4972. Or can I go back to any questions?
I think, don't you have to come out of public session, out of,
Once you
Yeah,
have,
we-
my suggestion is have the public hearing and then go back, yeah, right, and then
Yeah,
go back out.
we'll go through all three of them.
My suggestion, go through all the public hearings and then go back.
Okay. All right. And then we have item number 2 under public hearings. It's 4973, resolution to approve or deny exhibit 2016-2, an amendment that creates chapter 8.25 public institution zoning and refines standards for chapters 13 definitions, 4 zones, boundaries thereof, 16 parking, loading regulations, 17 buffers and screenings, and 28 signage regulations for Clearcreek Township zoning code. There we have it.
Right. When the public hearing occurred for the Warren County Career Center, the discussion occurred that maybe we should have a true public institutional zone instead of having them exist either as a permitted use in a larger zone that has more options or as conditional use within the residential. Basically, we took the city of Lebanon's idea and utilized that as our framework for this regulation, created within the protected uses, the definition, and then had that fall through. Ultimately, it follows the office with regards to screening, buffering, signage, and the like. That is the intent of this section.
Okay. Any questions about section 2 under public hearing? Okay, moving on to section 3, resolution 4974. This is a resolution to approve or deny the application of Allison McKinsey of SHP, leading design agent for Warren County Career Center, to amend the zoning resolution and the map to a total of 88.3212 acres, and so on and so forth. I don't think I'm gonna read that.
All right, so now we get into the fun for the night. I'm going to approach the board. Warren County Career Center is asking for, in essence, half of their property and everything that is south of the high-pressure gas lines to go into new zoning classification. The reason, as we just led to with the 2 text amendments, is they are currently a conditional use within the residential classification of OSR 1. Every time they want to go through and make modification, whether minor or major on the property, you have to go through public site plan review. So we're adding 3 months type of activity every time they want to make some changes. So the discussion occurred. It said, okay, let's do office, which would be comparable to what the Vital 5 Points Elementary School was with a baseline zone, even though it's an office PUD. And that's how we started this process. And then went into, at the last zoning commission hearing, they also approved the idea of the concept of the public institution that then was established and then modified the request to be public institutional. Just a couple things to go over. Ultimately, we have residential zoning that touches the property on all sides, either an R1 or OSR1 classification, with the exception across the street. 122, we do have an R1 PUD, that is the bed and breakfast and cultural center activity. We looked at the land use plan. As I alluded to, we do not have a classification for institutional. The property is at a baseline residential classification. So, when this went before Warren County Regional Planning, at the office classification, they asked for us to do some modifications, but overall the request was to be approved. And the zoning commission had their public hearings, and actually did have public attend. The idea of having the entire property be office, even though the school's intent is to continue to have a school, the neighbors were saying that, you know, they were not comfortable that there could be property sections that could go into a true office classification. Thus, it's why they went to the text amendment 2016-2, initiated, and then said it was more appropriate to have this part of the request to actually have a permitted use as a public institution.
I can answer questions of the board.
Anybody have any questions? Okay. Moving on to item number 4, under public hearings, resolution 4975, a resolution to approve or deny application of Daniel Cademan, I believe, to amend the zoning resolution map parcel number as identified, and it's from an SR1 to residential zoning R1A.
Okay. All right. Just to give you some perspective about where we're located. This is the Glen Ridge subdivision. This is Vital 5 Points Elementary School, goes out of Vital. This is the Soroya Farms subdivision. So we're basically in an area of the township in which we anticipated having suburban residential. At the time of the land use plan, we didn't call out for anything greater in intensity than 2 units to the acre, knowing that we had in this area the capacity for sanitary sewer. This property is actually on the tipping point between the Richard Run Sewer Agreement area and the Montgomery County area. So this area will be serviced by Montgomery County. Our request is to go from, in essence, a half-acre lot size to a 14,000 square foot lot size. In 2005, we also changed the minimum acreage and how you get to it. We excluded out road right-of-way, waterways, wetlands, 100-year floodplain, drainage easements, and high-pressure gas lines from that minimum. So if you look at what you can yield, talking about a gross density for a half-acre lot size, but in reality, you don't get 2 lots per acre. You get something less of that because at least you're taking out the road right-of-way. So we estimate that to be somewhere around 1.7 as a starting point before you start taking other things off. With the 14,000 somewhere around the 2.6 net. So part of the request that Mr. Cobham can talk about is how he intends to develop, though it is a straight zone. He is the developer of what was Crown Point Meadow subdivision to the west. And it has comparable zone classification and lot sizes. Once for Warren County Regional Planning, they recommended approval. The zoning commission also had approval at the time of their request.
Can you answer questions?
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Coleman? Anybody, I guess it's appropriate for us to go ahead and ask for comments now before we go back. We're all right with that?
You got it.
Anybody like to have any questions about and address any of these 4 items under public hearings before we go out of the public hearing back into our regular meeting for a vote? Anybody have anything? Okay. Hearing nothing, we'll adjourn hearing nothing, we'll adjourn the public hearing. And now we are back to our regular meeting. And let's start with item number 1, because I'm sure that Councilor won't let us do all these in one.
No, not these.
Is there a motion to approve or deny resolution 4972?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Okay. And is there a motion to approve or deny 4973?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Okay. And then resolution 4974, a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And 4975, a resolution to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
So moved. Oh, I'm sorry. Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Okay. Moving on, thank you all for attending. Moving on to new business administration, we have resolution 4976, resolution authorizing executive session to consider appointment, employment, dismissal, promotion, or demotion for compensation of public employees.
Brian and I were talking about the flow of things with this executive session. He suggests we move the executive session along with the salary resolution, which is next, along with the one involving the chief, 4980, moving those all just to the bottom, so those are the only things that would come after the executive session, the whole salary piece. So he'd suggest to amend and move it to the bottom and just hit the other stuff
Would
first.
we need to renumber all the resolutions?
I don't think so, as long as you have them.
Let's have a motion to move 4976, 4977, and 4980
Correct.
to the bottom of the agenda. How about that?
To your point, Mr. Soto, as long as we don't have dual numbering, I think we're okay even if they're out of sequence. As long as we
Okay.
don't have dual numbers.
Should, and just, since we're just, all us girls are talking here, in the minutes, can they be out of order in the
Yes.
minutes?
Yes.
Okay,
Let's put this, then we'll have a motion to move them that way.
There you go.
And then-
so you're saying 76, 77, and 80?
Yep,
Okay.
I think that's correct. isn't
Yep.
it?
Yes.
Motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Okay, then let's go ahead and talk about 4978, a resolution of intent to dispose of unneeded property, including motor vehicles.
This is the resolution we do each year to authorize using gov deals. Because of the way this flows in the end of the year, we have, the trailer we still have to put on there, and Brian and I talked about it, it'd be just easier to authorize it for next year and have it ready to, done. So when we put things on, there's not a conflict. We have to advertise the resolution number, so doing it this close to the end of the year, 2016, doesn't make any sense. So that's why it's on now instead of January.
Okay, anybody have any questions about 4978? So motion to approve 4978.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And moving on to 4979 under police district. resolution to accept a donation from Mr. and Mrs. Hollander to the Clearcreek Township Police Department.
The Hollanders are regular vacation house checks, and they wanted to show their appreciation.
Okay, is there a motion to approve 4979?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And the next item is a probationary appointment and offer to hire part-time police officer Brian Colton.
As you may recall, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
our plan was to try to hire 2 additional part-time officers. Having been through the process now with written testing and polygraph, background investigation, oral review boards, and so on, we've only been able to proceed with 1. So, but Brian has passed everything, and we are ready to make him a conditional.
Okay, is there a motion to offer to hire Brian Colton, conditionally based on, I assume it would be the normal things, psychological evaluation, physical, etc.
Yes, sir.
So moved.
And do we need to include a rate in here? I don't see a rate. So
Yeah, and it's not on the sheet either.
This, I guess that would be in the next step when you actually hire them.
Yeah,
This is to offer them a spot.
yeah, this is a conditional offer, conditional upon psychological, no?
I don't think so. I
No.
think otherwise.
Well, he's at the probationary rate listed
Okay,
in the
whatever.
contract. It-
Yeah.
We
Okay.
can,
Then that's okay.
yeah, it's
I think
not
that's a-
subjective.
I think we should put a rate in there.
Yeah, and do we have a starting time? A starting date?
He would get an offer and then do the psychological.
So is this the first, before he actually starts, there'll be another vote? Is that what you're telling me?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. So that's
So
when
this
the
would-
rate of pay and the start date and all that would be in that?
You can, or I can grab it from the contract and we can
Or we
throw it in
just-
here so
we
you
can
know what the
just
offer
say in
is.
here at the part-time starting rate of the contract.
Just make sure, so maybe I didn't read the agenda correctly. This is just to start the offer process. This is not to make the offer once, or is it to make the offer?
This is conditional on him passing those other things. If he does,
So this is the offer?
It is, and it's with, and they're gonna offer him a salary. When you offer to, when you say, okay, if you pass the rest of these things, you can come to work for us, and he's going to say, and what rate would that be? And so you're gonna offer him a salary now too.
Okay.
Yeah, then we need to make,
That's the way we've
we
done
need to
that.
be as specific as we can if it's conditional offers. And that's the first way I understood it, and then as we talked, I'm like, wait, we're not doing a bunch of all
Yeah.
this. But yeah, you gotta put it in there in
Well,
terms of.
I think we have in the past.
Yeah,
okay?
I agree.
Yeah,
We've
there's
always-
always been a rate on it.
I agree.
There's always a rate and a starting date.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
believe there will be one other action to hire him as of this date. So there's still that action
Yeah,
to
that action
come,
is still come.
Then
but
that
we
doesn't-
can
don't
clearly
need it.
grab the rate from the contract and make it part of what you're
If this is
approving the
not
offer
the
being.
final vote for the offer, I don't think we have to have a rate in there or a starting, I think this is fine.
Yeah, that's still to be determined, the starting date at least.
Yeah, so I think if you guys
Yeah.
still have another vote out there, this is just a conditional, you
Okay.
know.
I would agree.
think, Yeah,
All right, okay.
I'm just saying we've done it in the past, without
No,
that
but
information.
the point is, that's all good. The point is just when he starts, we need to know the starting date, we need to know the offer, and that needs to be authorized by you guys. So if we're not there yet, then we're okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
Okay, all right. So is there a motion to offer to hire Brian Colton?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Anything else from the police district?
Just noticed the monthly report was one interesting case at the end of November that we had a burglary and a laptop was taken, and we were able to ping that laptop and find it in the city of Dayton. And our guys went up, and along with the Dayton Police Department, served a search warrant in Dayton and recovered the laptop. And Dayton Police, while they were there helping us, found some stolen property from the city of Dayton as well. So it was kind of nice mutual.
Did that, was that stolen from someone's home?
Yes, Donald Stokes Reserve had a burglary where the laptop was taken from their home.
And the gentleman worked at Right Pad, is that what I heard?
Yeah. And
So it had GPS on the laptop.
yeah, technology is wonderful. It works correctly.
Wrong one to steal.
No, that's good. Very good. Okay, moving on to the fire district. We have resolution 4981, a resolution to accept a donation from Mr. and Mrs. Fishman.
If you remember, a few months back, they made a previous donation. We went out there again and helped them out, and they sent a real nice thank you card with a donation. And just one of the things that stood out in the thank you card was just that they said they're so lucky to live in Clearcreek Township, and they appreciate everything we do for them. It was a real nice letter.
That's nice. Mrs. Fishman used to be very active in township business, on committees, as well as here for most meetings. Now, they have to be in their 90s now, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but they are very nice people.
Oh, yeah, wonderful people. So a motion to accept this donation from the Fishman.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we have resolution 4982, a resolution revising the memorandum of understanding by and between the Board of Clearcreek Township Trustees and the professional firefighters, local 4207.
Yeah, number 3 and number 4 kind of go together. When I took over, one of the things I did was look at a restructure or a realignment of the fire department in our organization. Working with Mr. Cameron and the fire department command staff and then the bargaining unit, we kind of looked at some different things as far as how our organization is structured and if it was being ran as efficiently as possible. So one of the things we looked at is decreasing the number of chiefs from 3 to 2, and then decreasing the amount of lieutenants that we had, and filling all the captain's positions. And then one of the issues we've had with the fire department for a while is when we put on a hiring process, just not getting a big turnout. And we're not the only fire department in the area. A lot of places are having problems with this. The part-time pool has essentially dried up. There's an article in the paper today where the Kettering Fire Department's going to be hiring 13 firefighters next year. Cincinnati's supposed to be putting on 3 classes. I hear Dayton's going to hire. So, I mean, there's going to be a ton of places hiring, so it's just going to be drying up the pool. One of the things that we've talked about at some of the chief conferences I went to is instead of just drawing the line at firefighter paramedics is hiring firefighter EMTs to sort of supplement those paramedics. And City of Middletown, Monroe, Franklin, and now us are looking to do that to kind of maximize your resources, get a larger pool of people. One of the things we notice is we currently have 3 part-time firefighter EMTs that work for us who are very good employees. And actually, when I went down and looked to see how long they had been with us, they have a total of 29 years of service to the Clearcreek Fire District, which kind of surprised me that they've been here that long. It didn't seem like together for 3 people, but you know they've got a great track record. You know, never had any disciplinary issues, so this is an opportunity to convert part-time people to full-time. So we seized that opportunity, and then in order to do that, we have to have an agreement with the labor union because there's no position or that rank that exists. So they're on board 100%. They think it's a great idea. They love it. And they're coming in at a 12% lower rate than a starting rate for a firefighter, so we also get to save a little bit of money too. So I think it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, is there a motion to approve the resolution for the memorandum of understanding, resolution 4982?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. And then we have some probationary appointments, and as Steve has just talked about these, we really need to do these in an individual motion for each one of them.
You know, I was looking at that, Mr. Wade, and I think so long as the rates are the same and they're for the same positions, I think you can combine the positions and the rates, so long as,
Okay.
so I see Lieutenant Scott and Lieutenant Cox can be combined, Sergeant and Stafford can be combined, and Schubert, Waters, and Whitney can be combined, if I have that right, Chief, in terms of their rates and their positions.
That is
So I
correct.
think you have 3 motions instead of 6.
Okay. Now, and Steve, so we're gonna really move Scott and Cox to
Captain.
captain from lieutenant on a probationary basis.
That's correct.
Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Thank you. And then we're going to also move firefighter paramedics Sergeant and Stafford from lieutenant,
From firefighter
from
paramedic to
firefighter
lieutenant.
paramedic to lieutenant.
Correct.
Is there a motion at the appropriate rate? Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we're also going to move 3 part-time firefighter EMTs Schubert, Waters, and Whitney to full-time firefighter EMTs.
That is correct.
Is there a motion to move these three individuals from part-time to full-time?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Is that okay?
Yes, I was just thinking, and that's not what I should have been thinking about calling Roy, I was thinking about something else. I see that they're back on probationary appointment. This is not my role, but I just have to ask, when people have worked with us for 10, 15, 20 years, why do we put them on probationary? I get probationary for the new role, but where they have to pay back any kind of testing and stuff, that just seems like a lot. Do you know what I'm saying? I understand if you're bringing somebody off the street, having that probationary role for a week, okay?
But this won't be applicable to the paying back, because there won't be any cost incurred by the township for moving them from part-time to full-time.
So the probationary, if they, for example, and Josh Scott's the first guy, so I'll just use him. If Josh doesn't work out as a captain, or captain, does he go back to lieutenant? Or if he doesn't work out, is he gone?
That goes back to lieutenant.
Okay,
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, it's only probationary for the new role,
Okay,
yeah.
it didn't used to be that way, and I'm glad to hear that.
That's what the handbook outlines, so.
Okay.
I did want to offer,
Because I know when Mrs. Rothenberger went from part-time to full-time, she had to go through that whole thing again. So that's what concerned me.
yeah,
I agree, Melinda. Actually, I had that conversation with Jack
Okay,
about Diane's situation.
yeah.
yeah, these are promotions, so that's not the same. Maybe the part-time guys to full-time is a similar, but I did want to offer some comment, so it's on the record, or at least recognized. And I know we've talked about the fact that before Steve took over as chief, one of the things that struck me was we had little interest in the promotional process. And so this is kind of the culmination of that concern. You know, we had one person that had signed up for the lieutenant's promotional process. We had 3 that signed up for the captain's process. We had 12 firefighter paramedics sign up for the lieutenant's process and go through it. And we had 5 for captain. It's a smaller pool. And that's, how many more? That's 3 more for captain than last time, because one wasn't available to do that process again. So there was 17 total, where there was 4 the last time.
That's awesome.
So we were very pleased, and I know Chief Agenbrod has done a good job with it, but Captain Clary really ran with that process, and everybody it was a very positive process for the men who did it. Even if they didn't get promoted, they learned from it and for the next time, but that's kind of the quintessential promotional, spirit you see amongst the fire department, or a police department for that matter. So I just wanted to make sure that I spent a minute or two making sure we all recognized it went pretty well, and I'm very pleased with it, and Chief did a good job, along with your guys.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, Captain Clary did a fantastic job. The Ohio Fire Executive Program that he went through, what he did his research paper on was professional and officer development. So all of that training that we sent him for, he's able to now take his applied research paper, and he's applying all of that information to our department to develop an employee development program. So it's a real win.
Great work. Nice job. Okay. Moving on to item number 5, on the fire district, I have a purchase recommendation for firefighter department, must be software.
Yes, that is correct. This is our Fire Rescue One software that we track all of our training to keep everyone certified and qualified. This is just our annual renewal to do that.
So motion to approve the renewal for $29.50.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And have monthly reports, Steve?
Just that
Anything you want to point out in particular?
the run numbers keep going up. We're set to do 3,110 runs this year, which is going to be more than we've ever done before. So it's, activity's busy, doing the best we can.
Okay. Any questions for Steve about the monthly report? Okay, moving on to the zoning department. We have a public sector leadership program.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I haven't asked for a lot of training, I guess is the best way to look at it. There's been some professional development discussion that Mr. Cameron and I have had over the course of the time that he's been here, and trying to figure out some ways to get me more involved in some of those elements. One of those is the Xavier Leadership Center. We looked at that. That's something that Chief John Terrell has gone through. We had a discussion about the value of that, since it's truly public sector, public management focus, as opposed to some other things and trainings that exist out there. They are offering it twice a year. Once is in January, the other is in September. Wanted to see if it was possible to start that process in January.
Great, I think it's great you're gonna, thinking about it.
Absolutely.
Good for you.
Mhm.
I think that's awesome. Anybody have any questions for Jeff about this? It's good, great training, and we certainly know you've never really taken off and done a lot of that stuff, so it's time, and this is a good one. Good for you.
We
How long-
needed him too bad to do technology stuff, so.
How long does
Busy getting busy.
how long does the process take? I saw it was 6 days, but is
Yeah,
it
it's-
once a week or?
Yeah, it's Wednesdays for 6 consecutive weeks, so it'll be done in February.
Good. All right, is there a motion to approve this purchase?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. And then we have a park concept plan. Tell us about that, Jeff. Or John? Jack?
I am officially John, but I go by that too.
I think we're going to tag team.
Yeah, I know one of the things, and it's been kind of drug on, we talked about last year, actually my review was moving or getting something moved with the Harball Gitzinger property, because it had been years since it was bought to be developed for park. Knowing that there wasn't clear what direction that took, we asked the Regional Planning Commission, could you take this on as a project? They said yes, but
They did.
they took it on as a project, but it didn't move anywhere. And Jeff and I talked a couple months ago about the fact that, hey, they're probably not gonna get to it till next year, and even if they do, and I said, can you go get some prices, and we can just at least see if there's something reasonable out there to put concept or two together and get a sense of the public direction on what could be useful there, which is kind of what I took as the push for, hey, let's just figure out where this thing could head and what some costs were. So Jeff had gathered some of these. He actually got 3. One was in the $30,000 range, so that wasn't even put in front of you. That's not worth it. But I don't know, Jeff, if you want to talk about the two and
Yeah,
the merits of them.
Ultimately, what we're trying to do is have the initial discussion, so there can be some preliminary ideas and some directions, because ultimately, if you're gonna develop on a park, you need to know if it's gonna be an active park or a passive park. Both of these groups are able to do this preliminary concept, get some numbers to crunch together about if you're gonna go down the path, what is it gonna be for expectation for that type of construction, though it's not covering all of the plans associated with design. We have to have some decisions about where you want to go and ultimately how to get there. They have a different philosophy on how to collect information. That is the main difference between the two entities. One is charrette, in which we're gonna bring in stakeholders and have public meeting discussion. The other is actually doing an online survey to try to get different segments of the population to give us input about what is needed. They both will do the baseline assessments, talking with the city, Springboro, since they're within our jurisdiction, making sure that we're not duplicating services and trying to figure out what is best served, both by the site-specific activity that could go on the property and what's needed within the region. But knowing that this is something that is a first step, wasn't sure if this was money that you guys wanted to spend this year, or if it was something that needed further debate, so we want to bring it before you this evening.
Okay. Well, personally, I'm glad to see that we're moving forward and at least getting started on thinking about what to do with that property. And certainly, $4,800, and the other one was like $12,000 or something, as I recall, as I read that.
Yes, sir.
And do you know this Eric Sauer's work? Has he done work around here?
Yes, he has. He was part of what was Envision Works, that he was partner with before that company dissolved. Just went to you take my tongue and use it. Here we go. He currently works for, the park district that's in Dayton, which eludes me this point.
Metro Park.
Yes, doing design, but he's done individual design in Centerville and the surrounding area. So if you wanted to have this table to have a further review of his works, happy to bring those and have additional discussion.
He's not new at it, and he's been working in this area.
Yes, he has.
I'm not
I'm certainly
positive.
comfortable with that.
But I think I participated in one of the charrettes for Warren County, which ultimately led to the resolution you gentlemen passed last meeting where they're pledging part of the inside millage to the park district. Because after the charrette that we went through, all the residents in Warren County, they didn't want any more park money. The purpose for that was to see about putting a park levy on. And nobody wanted to put a park levy on, which that's how the commissioners got around that, because people just don't have a stomach to put money into parks right now.
Now, we were gonna be having a report from the Regional Planning Commission. Was there gonna be a cost involved with that?
No, since we're a member of Warren County Regional Planning and we can go into their work program, we just have to wait for them to get to us. The reason for the delay initially was that the planner that was in essence assigned to us went on to graduate school, so they had to go through the time to get an additional planner to fill a spot, and things just got kicked down the line, so. But yes, that would be at no cost. It would just be sometime, probably in all reality, summer would be a start date of 2017. So where do you guys want to kick the can type of discussion if you're wanting to start?
Well, when we asked him to do this, get started on this about probably 6, 8, 9 months ago.
Actually, it was a discussion last November 2015 is when we had the initial discussion to see if it's something they could take on as a project.
I don't know if they'll ever get it done, would be my concern. They're small.
It's,
This is not a-
it's on there, but it's slow to get to.
Yeah. Bill?
So I can answer further questions if you guys have.
I would personally like to go ahead and get moving forward. I don't know if Steve does or not, and Jason
I have to abstain.
is not allowed to, he can't even talk about it.
He can talk in his individual capacity, but yeah, but not as a trustee, he can't vote.
Right.
I kind of feel like if we're gonna be doing a park, it's gonna be sometime down the road. It's not gonna be something.
Certainly you're gonna be at 17.
Right.
Even if this guy doesn't, you couldn't get things
Right.
moving, and we agreed on what to do.
Mhm.
It's not like you get moving on that in 17, it just
Right.
wouldn't happen.
Well, my thinking is, I'd rather go slow than fast.
We haven't been going fast.
Well, I mean,
That's for damn sure.
I like this rate right now. Because I think by the time maybe we are, or the public says, hey, we want something or we need something, the circumstances might be completely different if we do a study right now than waiting a year or when the Regional Planning Commission could do that. I'd kind of like to wait.
Okay, I don't wanna wait, but we've been waiting since we bought the land for a study. That's just my opinion. But if I would say this, if you could get some kind of commitment out of regional planning to say, hey, we're gonna get to work on that in the first half of 2017,
Yeah.
then if not, then I'd say we come back and look at it.
Let's talk
Fair
about,
enough.
yeah, that's good.
How about that?
All right, I'll see what I can
Fair enough.
get for you.
If they can't give us a commitment and say, hey, we can't get it till 18, then we have to let's look at this again.
I agree.
Okay, let's do that.
And just for the record, do I need to get down or can I speak from here?
I think, yeah.
All right. Excuse myself.
Sir, make sure you identify yourself for the record.
Yeah. And where you
As a
live?
resident.
And where you live?
He's serious.
Jason Gabbard, 6196 Springboro Road, Lebanon, Ohio. To the point that, what's that?
Citizen.
Citizen Jason Gabbard.
Yeah.
To Mr. Wade's point, being one of the family members that sold the property to the township in 2007, I think we envisioned something moving quicker than it has. Obviously, when I ran for office, that changed the dynamic of how that was going to move forward. So,
from our end of things, we kind of made some assumptions that it would be moving forward by now. Understanding the situation as it is, just being the next door neighbor is the reason I can't vote on it, not because I was part of the original land sale. We'd like to see something done with it at some point as a family, so. Mom's gone, so that part is the dedication side of it is gone, but being named after my grandfather is really the whole point of what we envisioned. We didn't want to see more houses, as we, you know, we didn't want to see more rooftops, and that was a great way to bridge that. And then obviously with Mr. Gitzinger after that, it's a great property and it's a unique piece of land, so we're hopeful that we'll move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not gonna ask for any other comments. Okay, I think that's good. Now, we don't need a motion or anything to do that, Jeff, just check
Yeah,
it out.
just direction.
Yep,
Thank you.
direction.
Anything else from those, you have your monthly report?
I do have a monthly, just wanted to bring to your attention that we're about where we were last year, a little bit higher in
Housing
single family
starts,
volumes.
new home starts are up a little bit.
Yeah, so we'll see what December brings since we're out of the election time,
Yep.
for the next couple of weeks.
Is all of Country Brook pretty well sold out now?
It's my understanding, based upon the next request that's coming for you, that Country Brook has commitments for basically the rest of that plat, so there is not much left. I heard less than 10 lots.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Two of my friends that live in there said it started as a bid, it almost turned into a bidding war. People were paying premiums for the lots,
Wow.
so.
well, that's
And they're already-
great for that
some are
development.
already $100,000.
The one gentleman bought the entire cul-de-sac, did he not? He bought 3 lots?
It's not uncommon for several of those to occur. The Ivy Street, yeah, there's one individual who basically owns the street.
It's not fire.
I would have bought, I don't
It's a
know,
popular place.
acreage out away from people. but
Well,
some
that's,
people
yeah,
want
I
to
kind
put
of thought the same
subdivisions,
thing. You can build $1 million house pretty much wherever you want if you've got that kind of money.
True.
I don't think they're a million, I think they're higher than
Oh.
that.
Yeah, well, what he's, yeah, because that's, I think he ended up, well, the number I heard was $500,000 for the 3 lots in order to get them, so.
The other item that I had didn't actually make the agenda, but we had in the packet, was for, I need to set a public hearing.
Yes.
I noticed that as I was sitting down, so. Last week, the zoning commission had a request from Greg Smith of Ober, who's also partnering with Abernathy for Stolly properties down the red line area. Basically, they have a configuration of like 5 different zoning classifications trying to go into residential and business. The zoning commission held a public hearing and recommends approval to go to R1, and then the B2 actually bump down to a B1. So I'd like to set a public hearing for January the 9th at 5:30 if you have availability.
Good way to start the new year.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We did 4 in 10 minutes, so maybe we can do 1 in 10 minutes. It'll still be good.
I'm gonna guess no on that one.
It had a little bit more controversy.
It's got a little bit more teeth to it.
Yeah.
And Bob doesn't want to run out lots and have nothing to do.
Well, he's
I thought he was planning to
he's
retire.
retiring and he's not. He's retiring, he's not. He's back and forth. I think he basically has found with this group from Over, since of being able to mentor them in a new way of doing things. So he's found some opportunity, I think, has invigorated his desire.
Good for him.
So,
Sure, invigorates his checkbook.
well, wherever you want to
So
look at.
motion to set the public hearing for 5:30 on January the 9th, 2017.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. And anything else, John?
Yes, sir.
We have the road department. Scott?
Yeah, if you were out and about, you saw we did a test run with the brine, everything's working well,
Yeah.
it's going good. And then, To let you know that February 13th, you'll actually have a monthly report in front of you from my department, which might make it a little bit easier than coming up here and just trying to spit a few things out at you in the meeting. So we'll keep you more informed about a lot of different things that we'll have going on.
Unless a big snow happens that week.
Yeah, I don't have a secretary, so.
No snow. All right. Anything to come up under staff reports?
I failed to explain, rather than doing the oaths for the promotional stuff tonight for the fire department, I wanted to separate, first of all, the chiefs, but then we've got several others. And so January 4th at 5:30, we're gonna do like more of a formal thing at Station 21.
And to be clear, I asked you this, but I'm gonna ask the guy that we paid to keep us out of trouble.
Jeff?
We can, yeah, wrong.
Okay.
We can all attend that without it being a public meeting because it's a ceremony.
Correct.
Okay.
And you're not doing any,
We're not doing any business.
correct.
And Steve is already acting chief, so you're not short a fire chief.
Right.
So there's no issue, functionally with the role, so, the oaths, it's, Brian and I have talked through that, so doesn't need to be an actual meeting. I think Mr. Wade said, you said you'd be available to do the oaths.
But Mr. Wade's really the only one doing anything, and that's one, so you're fine there. You guys are just attending.
Okay. Anything else?
I have one other item to just update. Paycor's made quite a bit of progress in the last several weeks, after, what seemed to be just, we kind of got put off because we delayed the date, so. They've made a lot of progress. We've gotten the fires side, which was a whole big thing just to get the output going, and those have gone back and forth a few times to be tweaked by Paycor, so I'm a whole lot more optimistic than I was last meeting to say, it looks like we're gonna have something to look at, a few payrolls before we try and cut over.
Very good. Anything else? Okay, then I'd like to entertain a motion to recess the regular meeting and enter into executive session with resolution 4972.
76.
Oh, yeah, wrong one.
76.
4976, that's the one. A motion to that effect?
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yeah.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay?
Mr. Wade?
Yeah.